Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Morning Jumpstart. I am Jason MAYR, and I showed up at the wrong place this morning. So this morning it is me and not you. But we got in the right location, and yeah, sometimes I'm hard to get a hold of. For me and you both. Me and you both. But glad Susan made it. Thanks, Susan. And I'm sure other people will be showing up here in a minute once they figured out that they were doing everything right, and I just was not present. So this morning we've got 2 sunsets and 2 lilacs. Actually, we got 3 lilacs and 2 sunsets. And since we know that Susan has found us already, why don't we get started with her? And then as the rest of you hopefully are able to jump on board, we'll take care of them all. So why don't we do Susan, and then the order will be Barbara, Katie, and then we have Wendy and Tanya with the sunsets. So that'll be the order today. All right, so why don't I get back to what I'm good at and pressing the right buttons and showing up at the right place. And the interweb doesn't seem to be it. But hey, I know a thing or two about painting, so why don't we stick to that subject? All right, Miss Susan, back at it. So Susan said that she spent another lot of time on the background again and the foreground, and they're both looking really good, and that she also carved into things. And I would have to look at yesterday's work to be sure, but this feels better to me. This definitely feels better to me. So give me just a second to look at this, and we will get started. All right, so we're getting to the lilacs, no question about it. Boom. And so I feel like the background's doing its job, and that it's also you got good shapes and everything in there. And so I think at this point it's time now to develop the music, right? We almost have the background and the stage and everything to hold the music, to hold our play, to hold our drama. And so so what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And I'll show you what I see, and I'm going to guess that you already see this, but you know what? You never know. You never know. So, Susan's back. Susan's back. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Great job, Susan. All right. Well, Shakti was finally able to find us. Thank you, my friend. Thank you. Thank you. Yep, that was me, not you. That was all me this morning. So what are we going to do? Man, as these get better, they get harder to critique. They get harder to critique. We've got, I think, take some of this out somewhere. And why do I say that? And what do I mean by take it out? And when I say take it out, I mean visually take it away. Maybe turn it into shadow rather than light. Because I want a light path. And we have it, but then here, I don't know. We've got that little bit. And then we have all of... Do you feel that? So it's... And I know you haven't worked on it yet, but as you go into it, what I would like you to think about is to really orchestrate this light. Really, really orchestrate this light. So, for one thing, where are we going to start? I feel like this is set up for almost a reverse C composition, right? You may have had a straight circular composition in mind. Either one of those would work really, really well. But I think to make it a little bit more effective, I think I would shadow that guy, and I would probably shadow this guy. Shadow this. And maybe all of that. And what that'll do when we turn that to dark is it almost puts like an island or something down for the go-kart track, so the go-karts can't just cut across anywhere they want. And the go-karts are the viewer's eyes in this case. Let's send them all the way around. Okay, so as you start to developing those lilacs, I would consider right, and we might have a little bit here, and that little bit, what I would let do is let this background that you have, these sky holes here, let those be the little bit in there. Okay, so that's feeling better to me. That's feeling better to me. And then if we kind of continued, and then we want to get something, maybe even like that, right? Force them around. Say, hey, no, come on, I'm cooking you dinner. We're going to walk the property and have a look. We're going to walk the property and have a look before dinner. Come on. Put your walking shoes on. Put your walking shoes on. Look at that. And man, oof. You know what I'm going to say about this, Susan? You know what I'm going to say about this? Not too bad for an animal painter. That's going to not be too bad for an animal painter. And then now as you get to this stage, it's going to be important that you see how I got these shadows flat and on the shadow side. I wanted to do that first to show you the structure and how I might send this around, so that would be the bigness. But to make these more lilac-ish, right, I want to come up and make some of these edges more lilac-y. Maybe even a spot or two off the edge. And let's do this with this one flower here and see how that affects the look. Again, we don't want to be too ticky. Okay, and then if you touch the background at all too, what you want with the background is that to cut in a spot or two or three. All right, do you guys see that difference between that top one and the last two? And then the last thing you would do, and why last? Well, because you want it to sit on top. And I probably wouldn't take white, but I would take something a little bit weaker. And yeah, we need to get some of those white flowers, or petals, or whatever we're going to call them there, and do that same thing. Okay, and then before you know it, man, you're gonna have this lively lilacs just killing it. It looks like it's already killing it. And then I forget how small this is, But yeah, a little stronger. I think your blacks are looking pretty good, and granted, I used to mow lawns in the summertime in Texas, and wasp and bees and a few different things if you're drawing a bee. But can we crank that yellow up a little bit? Is that too? Is that going to get us too unrealistic? You know, kind of where he's supposed to be highlighted. A little bit of yet. You know, look how little it really takes. Look how little it takes to get that going. All right, my friend. Man, I wish I was working on this today. I wish I was doing this painting today. This looks like fun, fun, fun. 8 by 10. All right, pretty small, but even with a small stick or a toothpick, try to get a little cleaner of, you know, like I said, it does not take much. Little yellow on there and it'll boom. All right. Let's see what we say here. Having trouble figuring out how to light shadow leaves when they are flat, turned, curled, etc. Okay. All right, you're not the only one. So let's take a minute about talking about leaves. Okay. Now in the end, we want to do what we need to do. Do what we need to do. But let's take... That yellow seems to work pretty good. So let's see if we can take that yellow. So for this leaf, for instance, it's got a center there, and then they're going to come out like that. And so it's folded. It's going to be folded. So what that means is if we're getting light here, then we'd probably be getting shade, shadow, whatever that's going to look like on this one, because that plane and the plane, that shadow, that edge of it, where you see the yellow line right now, that will be lit because that'll be facing the light. Okay, and then since the top is facing the light, this side, technically, that one little edge would be shadow. Okay, and not that we were going to, but if we needed to put a highlight on here, or to say unequivocally that this is flat, this is flat, this is flat, this is flat, then how do we do that? Well, we make them, again, focus on the edge. So that brightest bright could be focused right there, and you know, we could also focus it here in the center. And you see how that just feels flat? Okay, so it's just like any other plane, and then here, what's going on down here? Here what we have is, now not always, but there's usually a little center. Sometimes they're more open. That's usually a V. And then to complicate things too, sometimes these curve. They're not completely flat, right? And then what happens when the leaf itself curls under? All right, well, just for fun, let's say that this is getting light. Well, how fun is that? I told you it's just for fun. If this was getting light, then at the center, we've got to change it right, and these colors aren't right. I'm doing this to exaggerate a little bit. Well, that wouldn't work because the light's going to be coming down like that, right? So I actually have to reverse this because that would be getting less light. This would be catching more light, at least until it started to turn away from the light. Then, just like any other form, it's going to turn into shadow. And to make them look on the edge, right? So again, this is that paper thin edge, but we can still show them the edges. And by doing that and making these crisp here, we make them focus on the edge. And again, that flattens those leaves out. Flatten those leaves out. So I hope that makes sense. And again, I exaggerated the light and shadow. Here, this would be a soft edge because it's turning, right? This whole thing is acting like form, but it's flat, right? So we can show both that it's flat by making them, hey, focus on the edge of this material, focus on the edge, and we can show that this is curving by showing a soft edge on the transition between light and shadow. Okay, so I hope that helps a little bit. I hope that helps. You guys let me know, because I'm here for you guys to understand me, and if I'm talking to where you don't understand, right, it kind of defeats the purpose. And then as I come back here, right, when I get that, so I want to watch that, and maybe I just have another silhouette break like that. Or maybe there's something that sticks up too. Because then look, if we get another little sky hole that isn't its own sky hole, but then we've got an introduction to those. And I love this too. You see, by doing it like that, you can get these movements with these sky holes and things that will really add to the painting. Whereas if you're too random with the sky holes, it's, you know, everything should be doing to adjust the composition, right? To push the painting forward. All right, let's see. That really, okay. Okay, I think you've got the right ideas, Susan, but to me it just doesn't look like you've worked in that area yet. And maybe you just weren't sure how to. Now, having said that, showing you how to do all those little things, very seldom do I spell a leaf out like that. Like, I may spell a part of a leaf out, or a leaf or two, an entire bouquet, but most of the time it's going to be silhouettes or a little light gesture here and there. Again, as you're doing it, think about the painting and the visual weight you need in that spot. And so if you needed a little more visual interest or a visual weight there, then develop the leaf a little bit. And that's going to bring a little more interest there. If you need to let go a little bit, we'll make sure those leaves aren't so developed, aren't so hard-edged. Okay? All right, Susan. You're awesome. You're awesome, you're awesome, you're awesome. So let's go. All right, Susan's going to keep trying. And Shakti says I'm on track. So with that, let's go. Let's go on. All right, so the first thing I did was, right, send that light around. And I try to think of it, again, is it a big glow, like a big lake, body of water? Or is it a stream or a river? And make that stream or river, I mean, at least in my head, come over rocks, small waterfalls, some trickles, some small pools, right? And then as it goes down and around. All right, and what did we finish with? Oh, we finished with talking about developing those leaves and their structures. All right. So I hope that helped everybody out. I hope it helped Susan out as well. And then let's jump over to Katie. Send the light. Yeah, that's right. Send the light around. Yeah, 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 yeah. And once you start seeing that happen, it's a difference. And like we can come back here, and we're, I believe this is Katie, if I remember right, and the same thing. Like, I like that happen. But do you guys see that right there? See that straight? No, I don't see it, Jason. Well, it's implied. It's implied from there. It's implied from there, and it's implied there. Right? So these are the things that I'm looking at, that I see, right? Because I try to see overall what we have. And so although the interior of your shape, meaning each individual flower, is very good, do you see how kind of, what do they call this, postmodern this almost is? Clean, sharp edges. And the only problem is this is lilacs, right? Not some architectural style. Lilacs don't fit in really to a design like that. Does that make sense? And I'll be surprised if you even saw it. By the way, you said you were combining a couple of ideas here. Do it. I double dog dare you. All right. Okay, so once you see that, because if you line those things up, man, it doesn't take much just to make these so powerful. So how might we differentiate this or do this a little bit different? Well, it's all going to depend on what you want to do. Right? So I'm just, from what you have here, I'm going to guess that we want to do this. And so, ooh, somebody didn't add a layer. How horrible is that? All right, let's fix our evil ways. Let's fix our evil ways. Here we go. My evil ways, not your evil ways. So if we're going here, right, that's going to help with that. And you might have been trying to slow that down, and that's fine. But maybe we should just put that more like this, or even add another one or two like that. Right? So maybe if this lilac shape was more there, and then we came out like that, and to kind of avoid that, well, this will help. But also I think I would break that line. It's just because this end of the lilac and that's not quite definite, right? Let's just get a little more definite with our overlap, and that'll help there. And then the same thing here. I'd like to push this out a little bit. And since I have that too, I think I might push this one to more over here, this area. Okay, look at, man, now what's happening here? What's happening? It looks like you're killing it. It's like, look, you're killing it. Like, this is going to be awesome. Man, I might save a little bit of room up there. And again, it's personal taste. It's not that couldn't be there, but we at least want to expand it. And maybe we let some lilacs take that shape. And so just for clarity, let's look at what we have here. Because again, I want to see this as a mass, as a big shape. I want to know the gesture of the shape, the size of the shape. So we've got that, and then as we X that off, right? Not so good because I've got that gesture. So I think you have the right idea with these little flowers on the ground here. But, you know, maybe we need just even a little bit bigger detritus and stuff over here. And what else could we? Oh, look what we did. See that straight line? That and that. Oof. Oof. So how can we fix that? Well, let's move that from there maybe up to here. And maybe we cut in like that a little bit. Yeah, and then I think what I might do is, if the background was a bit lighter right back here, right, it's just going to help to kind of silhouette some of that stuff. A little brighter there. All right, I think, are you with me? Are you with me? So you just see how those lilac, and you know, it might touch or it might not. Sometimes it might be fun to almost reach out, but not quite get there. You know, so we got the different mass sizes, but we still have our gesture going around. But now this is just now starting to get a line there, so we're gonna have to be careful about that. So again, how would you, well, if I need to bust it, either that or take that and that back. Okay, so again, I'm always looking, and still a little bit, but look at the difference now. You see there's a slight angle to that, and there's a slight angle to that. Okay, we're gonna have to keep, you know, this, depending on what you have, but surround, you know, get some light in there, you know, even some little light holes in here can really help to liven that up a little bit. All right, I hope that helps. So that's what I see here, Katie. I think your idea is great, but if you'll take the time and really think about these big masses, then we can come in and put form on them. And you have to watch that the entire time you do it. Why? Why do you have to watch it? Well, because that fence builder, man, he wants to come in and just, can we straighten that up? Can we straighten that up? Can we straighten that up? You know, and then before you know it, you're back at a straight box or a straight line. It just sneaks in there. So be aware of that. All right, let's see. Oh, okay. Excellent. All right, I'm glad you got that worked out. Yeah, very nice, Katie. Very nice. Katie, yeah, this is Katie. I think this is Katie. Does that make sense? You know, and again, if you have something else in mind, go ahead and do it, but keep your eye on those big shapes. Big shapes. Yep, yep, yep. Good. Good, 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 good. All right. How are we doing? I gotta keep moving. Miss Barbara. All right. So Miss Barbara said she tried doing what I said with the shadows, but had a heart. Her brain wouldn't let her. Her brain wouldn't let her. So let's just take a look at it and see. Let's just paint on here, because I think, Barbara, you kind of know, and it's just a matter of seeing and practicing. At least that's how I feel, and I could be wrong. But rather than saying too much on this, let's just look at it. Oops, wrong button. Wrong button. Let's level up. So, first thing I'd like to do is let's throw some shadow. Or you know what? Let's start at the other end. And just so that you can see what I'm doing before I actually do it. So we've got a couple things. We want to show that this whole thing is round, that we have to wrap around that this is closer to us and that's further away from us, right? And then we want to show form on each one of these without trying to get every individual flower painted individually. Okay, and so I know Barbara's trying for this, but it's an adjustment. It's an adjustment. So what I think is I'd like a slow build to maybe a climax right around here with our white, an overall climax of the white, like our biggest white. And so what that means is in these other places, I want to go slightly weaker in the light. Slightly weaker in the light. And although I may have a little bit of this maximum repeated up here, maybe here to here, it's going to be less than, both of these will be less than this, but probably up here will be a slightly more active. Okay, and again, this is a little advanced, but I think as you hear these words, you start to think and paint in these terms, and new possibilities open up for you. So in other words, this is going to be bigger and stronger, but I'm going to have it be a little more passive shape. And up here, I'm probably going to have that white be a bit more dynamic. Right? Do you see the difference between the feeling of that and the feeling of this? That's what I'm talking about. So we use the same thing, the exact same paint, but we're going to use it in a slightly different manner, or to say something slightly different, right? In other words, another way to say it is, let's give this a little more stability. Am I spelling stability right? I don't know. Stability. And make this a little more dynamic. Right? And we can do that with shape, paint application, all of that. All right. Oh, I'm a liar. I said I wasn't going to talk. I said I was just going to paint. Oof. Good people are going to stop believing me. All right, so if we go white, and our most white, let's just kind of put up, and again, it's going to be active, but I'm going to try to make it more into a single piece, and that the overall shape be a bit more stable. Okay, so I hope you guys can see what I did there. And then up here, I get a different brush or even a different tool. And this was our last white that we put on. So let's take that and go right there. And then maybe we'll take it and go up there. And then I'm thinking, and I think you've got it, we need to probably catch them right here somehow. Okay. All right. So execute, execute, execute. Okay, and then for us to be able to read that light, right, without shadow, light has no substance. And we talked about making it a little bit more of a violet. Shadow, right, needs to be warmer than the white and light, but that shouldn't be too hard to do, right? And about a number 3 value. And I don't know if I'm too light on that shadow or not at this point. But it looks like I can read it easily when I relate it to that white. So, all right, but everything that's not white's not going to be shadowed. All right, so what's up with that? Right, but it could just be a little bit less. A little bit less. So, hey, Barbara. Hey. Good to see you. Glad you made it. Sue's made it. Cindy probably couldn't even find me this morning. Ugh. What's Jason doing? Tie a rope to that guy. Put bells on him so we don't lose him. So he doesn't lose himself. All right, so I hope that's helping. And now what I'm going to do, Barbara, is off the shadow of those lilacs, I'm going to jump right to the shadow of my green. All right, I could even shadow a little bit of that. I think this is going to work better as a shadow, again, to send us around to make the movement more. And we'll add some leaves, but we're going to add them on the outside there a bit. Okay, and I like that. And this too, I think I would silhouette. Silhouette. You got the dark, good. All right, and then so that would be under. That's turning away from the light, and then we're going to face the light on that little thing there. And then, right, we might have some silhouettes on this side too, just to make things interesting. Just to make things interesting. Boot to boot. Alright, so showing that's turning under. And then, again, I think this is going to help quite a bit, is giving a shadow there, right? Because the best way to show that there's substance to something is to show that it's blocking the light from something else. That this is so real that it's actually blocking the light from getting over there. And I think the rest of this, that's a little bit cold. We might have to warm that up a little bit. Yeah, let's do that. See how that felt like there was a bit of white in there? So I'm going to take that out. And then I'd also, even if we just stick a little in the corner here, right, by having that dark, by having a dark, right, maybe there's a shadow coming from somewhere else on the table back here. And over here too. So I wanted to do this because I wanted to show you that, and I didn't level up, did I? Of course I didn't. Of course I didn't. How even the background will affect the look of the foreground. Right, so by holding this with kind of dark, and we don't have to be dark everywhere, and we can step right out of this. Step right out of this. Right, see, I can start getting a little bit lighter, but I don't have to go to white. I can still stay relatively dark on here. As I build up. Right, so even that gradation there, I want to show, make sure we got good shadow. What am I doing? Lighter grayer. Lighter grayer as we're moving back. Oops. Don't be jumping around. And let's just soften all those edges. All right, look, your lilacs are starting to glow. Then what are we going to do with our background? Let's see. I know this seems like a lot. Give me just a second. Give me just a second. And then what's the other direction? Darker, richer. Not enough. Right, so this could just be yellow ochre and cad black here. Ivory black. But again, it's not the colors that matter, it's the direction that you send them. And that you divide this from that. Okay, then what would happen if we mega softened a lot of this stuff? Oops. There we go. That's the tool I need. That's the tool I need. Okay, so Again, as we soften those edges, you see, so some of these, this is still a little bit bright, but I hope you see the direction I'm going and how the background affects the look. The look. It's probably a little bright in here. Again, I can just swirl around. You can take this down. Ain't that hard. All right, something like that, Barbara. So I'm going to leave it there and encourage you to go that direction. And let's look at, share this video since somebody forgot to level up. Okay, I know. All right, my friend. Now the wow is on your shoulders. Now it's your turn to wow me, okay? You're wowing me all the time, so go work, have fun, enjoy your daughters, enjoy your family, and let's see what, if you have time, let's see, have something into me by Friday, and we'll look at Friday, and then we have another week to work on this. All right, great job, Barbara. Great job. All right, you're very welcome. You are very, very welcome. All right, let's see. I'm getting lost today. I enjoy that, but it's hard to stay on schedule. See, Susan, we've got that. So we've got a couple of, what are we calling these? Sunsets. That's what these are. Sunsets. And if I remember right, I believe this is Tanya. Yeah, great job. Great job. So what do I see here? So I'm going to do something a little bit different. Do something just a little bit different. So I want to come here and let me press that button. Now we'll be looking at my photos. We've got this lined up in the photos. And let's just click black and white. Say done. And now, what do you see? What do you see? Okay, a couple of things that I see is that these values are a little too close. Okay? This just isn't really defining the light in the sky, and one way we're going to get a better sense of light is to have it held a little bit better. Okay? A couple of other things I see is this light around here. I think I would get rid of that. It's going to be a little bit more effective if you let that shine and glow up here, and then let's have a bit of a rest, even on the back of the ocean. And then save the most from here. I don't think I would go that far. I think that's pushing it a little bit. This is going to shine. You don't have to make it that much bigger. All right? And then let it fall off from there. And then the last thing I'll show you, and I think Wendy's struggling with this too, is so these clouds are in front of the sky. So how do we show that? Well, there's got to be a shadow that's darker and a light that's lighter than what's behind it, i.e. the sky, Okay? So let's have a look. Okay, but overall, I think you're getting this set up great. I love a lot of the colors in here. There's just a couple of decisions and a couple of values. I think if you shift a little bit, you're gonna you'll have a more impactful painting. Okay, so let's see what that would look like. Let us see what that would look like. All right, here we go. So let's start by leveling up. And then your purple that you have right here, I think that's nice. So again, let's just give kind of a fog bank or something back here. And because part of staying focused here and here and up here is taking this away, right? Taking all that stuff in between away. So at this stage, what I'm going to be doing, I'm taking more away than putting in. Okay, and I might have to get some adjustments. I'm not saying I'm right on here. But again, all I'm looking for is to send you more in a general direction. And I keep doing this because we need you to do that. How are we going to do that? Well, we need something holding us like that. Okay, so riverbanks, right? I'm putting in the riverbanks to hold our light. And then I'm gonna, I'm not putting in a whole ramp there, but just as a general overall thought, I need it to kind of go up like that. Okay, and the same maybe over here. Right, and so right around the sun and all that noise, whenever you see noise or need noise, you should actually think about, okay, so what do I have to quiet down in order for that to read? Again, if we let this go all the way across the sky here, what's going to happen is that's going to hold all that color. And you see how that just makes that color more intense. Now we have to hit some transitions and things. Oof. Oof, who left that there? All right, there we go. Right, so to me this is already, oh yeah. Let's see. Just again, and let's hold this whole thing in a little bit. Not that we can't let them out here and there, but you see now that we're holding that light, oof, right? It just already looks so lit up. All right, so what I'm going to do in the sky above all that color is I'm going to take a green, because if the clouds are purple and gray, and then we go greenish, up in here, so this is the sky above those clouds. I know, it looks weird, huh? It looks weird. Stay with me. Stay with me. And now, is that the right value? Well, not really, because it's almost as gray as some of those. Like, up here, it gets a little close to the clouds. All right, but on the other side, it's working. Now you're going, wait, how is that below that cloud and above that cloud, those colors? I probably am going to run just a couple minutes over today, guys. I apologize, but it's what it is. So all I have to do is to come down into what I have in here and get a little bit of that on my brush. And then I'm going to tickle that into that green color. Ooh. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the green, as I'm going to take a little bit of this now and I'm going to tickle down below. Do you guys see what I just did and how easy that was? But I set up those big pieces first, and then I put a little bit in this into that. All right, so why don't we start there, Tanya? And then the last thing I'll show you here is that on the edge of these clouds, right, we got to show it lighter than the sky. You know, it doesn't have to be a lot, but just a little bit. And then as we come forward to these more forward clouds, it'll get a little darker, richer. but we still want it to read lighter than the sky, and if it doesn't, well, you just might have to, you know, what does it take? What does it take to make it stronger than the sky behind it? Okay? And if you think, oh, that doesn't look good though, well, it's because I've got that top edge hard when it needs to be soft. So as I and leave that harder edge for the bottom, because this is the same form turning from light to shadow. You see how that just softens it up? We'll go up above. Down below. Okay, you guys see how that happens and we're starting to get lit? All right, Tanya. All right, Tanya had to take care of her dog this morning, so I hope everything's okay with Pup. And for our sake, should we just video this again? Let's see, did I level up? Okay. You see how I hold that light a little tighter. Get a little bit more nervous about losing that light. Right? And so you got to hold it with something a little bit darker. All right, great job. All right, Miss Wendy. Miss Wendy. Let's see what we got here. Let's see what we got. Yeah, so I think you're right on. So the main thing here is yeah, you lighting up those clouds. Like I almost just finished with Tanya. There, and this will be lighter, cooler here in the middle. Right, so as we go further back, and a little bit on that, and then down at the bottom here, it'll go relatively red and dark, like we can help turn it. You see, that'll help give that sense of light. And then if we go back to here, then as we come forward, what happens? We get slightly darker, slightly warmer, slightly richer. And then we also want to be a little bit larger. And then so the edge of these clouds can look, and then we want to make sure that we've got the top of the clouds dark enough. And I may be a little bit dark here, I don't know. Again, I'm running a little late, so, but I wanted to show you what I do with the sky up here. So if this is the cloud, and this is just me, you can do it a little bit differently if you want, but I find if I can hold this light, right, really give it a good hold, that it'll look brighter. You feel how that gets a little bit brighter? My edges are a little bit hard here, so it's looking a little bit awkward. Let's see, let's send you up, but we need sky, so what's our sky gonna be there? Well, what do we know about our sky? Well, if that is light, well, our sky's got to be darker than that and grayer than that. But we also know in this that we want it to be on the green end. A gray green, no doubt. A gray green, no doubt. And so that's way too much. That's way too cool. Oof, what is going on here? What is going on here? Right, sometimes you gotta fight for it. Sometimes you gotta fight for it. All right, so this is way off, but just let me show you how effective this little method is. It's darker than the light on the clouds, and it's lighter than the dark of the clouds on top, right? On the bottom of this shape. Now again, that same trick. Why don't I just, okay, turn my opacity down. And let's get some of this a little bit warmer orange in here. And then share a bit of this inside that. You see how that brings it closer? You can still stay separated. And then again, let's take some of this color and share it with a little bit of this down here. And the graying off doesn't hurt, it actually helps. Okay? All right, so I hope that helps. I know I ran a couple minutes over today. Sorry about that. And Wendy, let me see. You sent in something else and had a little question about it. So let's see here. So I'm going to take a little sidestep here for a minute. Pardon me. See, we had some Monday inspiration with, I'm blanking on his name now. Why am I blanking on his name? And I believe this is the photo you're talking about. Okay? And so, again, the question is, what does that look like in black and white? So, and so much of it is literally walking off, right? You know, the sensitivity of the darks versus the sensitivity of the lights. You see, so when I look at his, what is the pattern I see? What's the pattern I see? Well, from top to bottom, you've got this big gray field, not going side to side, just top to bottom, and then we hit this darker cloud bank, and then we go a little bit lighter, and then we have some skips. We have some skips of light, so we've got all of this is gray, we go darker, inside this dark we have this light. We've got a little dark edge here, then we go lighter, and then within all of this light, we have these little dark lines and verticals. And notice how up above, there's a similar pattern of that. So it's actually this patterning of these little bitty things on these bigger fields. And then if we go from the patterning of the dark on the light, then we can start looking at the patterning of the light on that dark, and it's slight, right? Look at the patterning of the light on that darker. So, you know, we might call this more of a pattern painting, but it's an extremely sophisticated composition. Okay? So notice that where's our brightest bright here, but then it stays in the middle of the canvas. Do you feel that? And any little light that we have working across that vertical is not going to be more than the maximum light held here in the middle. Up here you get a little bit close. Right? It's almost like this little bit of lighter is holding that light vertical right there. Do you see that? Again, this stuff is so subtle. Look at this line he created. even putting his name there. His name in a place that creates, he signed it in a place, Fred Cumming is this name, signed it in a place that abstractly supported these horizontals. All right, so it was kind of a big order. I know I didn't get to kind of work on yours, but again, that's what I would do. Is I would carefully study his value patterns in black and white. Take the color out of it, right? You easily have the capacity to do that in your phone and whatever you're holding this digital photo in. I bet it has the capacity to take the saturation out, make it black and white. And that's going to let you more easily see the value pattern. All right? And again, it's sophisticated. It's sophisticated and it's beautiful, and keep going for it. But that's what makes these paintings so beautiful, is the grace and sophistication with which they do it. All right, good people of the world, I've overstayed my welcome. Almost 10 minutes. So thank you for sticking with me a few extra minutes. Hope you guys have a beautiful, beautiful day. This is it for the public programming, the free public programming for this week. We'll be back Friday. So if I worked on your paintings, or if you're working on your paintings, get it into me by Thursday afternoon, so I can get it loaded up for our Friday morning class. All right, and for the rest of you general public, you can find us again for free Sunday evening on Facebook for our sketch club, and we'll be back here Monday night for our masterworks, and Tuesday, Wednesday for morning jumpstart again. Love you guys. Thanks for your hard work, and we'll talk to you guys soon. You're welcome, Susan. Thank you. Thank you.